Hey, what's up? It's Royce Isaacs, one half of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, a member of Team Filthy, and you are watching Drinking at Moe's. Ah.
All right, everybody, Big Mo here. Wanted to take a little break to welcome the sponsor, Reaper Apparel. They want to encourage everybody to break the mold, live your best life, live your best self, just break out of that comfort zone. Use code DRINKIN when you go place your order to get 10% off. Some great quality stuff, great quality people. Glad to be a part of the team. Let's fucking go. All right, everybody. Welcome to Drinking at Moe's. Host Big Mo here. Be sure, like, subscribe, comment on YouTube, even share, because helps with the pain in the ass YouTube algorithm. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor. Leave a review. Today I have with me member of Team Filthy, West Coast Wrecking Crew, Royce Isaacs. How you doing?
I am wonderful. It's a very rainy day in Los Angeles, which is kind of rare, but we've been getting shellacked with it lately. Otherwise, I'm good, man. I had a good lift today. Been hanging out with my dog. It's been chill.
Good deal. Yeah, I have my my little experiences there with Southern California. I was stationed in San Diego, and the way it rains back here in Omaha, Nebraska, or anywhere in the Midwest, I think it rained that way maybe once in the entire 3.5 years I was there.
You're not wrong. The weather here is so nice that we're all spoiled, and anytime there's anything that's not just like sunny, beautiful weather, we're all like, oh no. It's like, what's weird is we'll get earthquakes in California, and everyone's like, whatever, because we're like used to that. But then it's like sprinkling rain and we don't get our sun, and everyone's like, oh, I got to cancel all my plans. Can't do anything. It's miserable.
Oh man. Yeah, nope. I've been there. I remember I really only experienced 2 earthquakes during my time down there. One time I was actually on my ship, and all of a sudden we could just feel an abnormal. We're like, whoa.
Yep.
And the other time I was actually in my car sitting down, and I saw somebody, a prankster from my ship that I was friends with, coming up behind me. So I thought he was like on the back of my car, just jumping up and down, shaking it. But then I'm like, wait, he's not even anywhere around me now.
Yeah, they're a little freaky until you get used to them, and then everyone just kind of ignores them.
Oh yeah, no, if I can, kind of like me with tornadoes here. There's people that like they freak out at. There's a difference between tornado watch and tornado warning. Warning, you might want to get a little worried. Watch, it's like, it could happen. So it's like, nah. Anyways, enough of the weather talk. I have a way I like to start it off. I like to ask, what got you started as a fan, and then what got you started making the jump into wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm 33, about to be 34 now, and so like when I was a kid, it was Attitude Era. Like, so I was in the prime, like wrestling was cool. So as a kid, me and my dad would watch wrestling, and I think that was like a really, I don't know, those are your formative years, and all the best performers and wrestlers are there. And so I got really, really hooked on wrestling early in life. And there was always something a little bit in the back of my mind, like maybe I would be good at this sport. Like I just thought there was something about it that appealed to me. And so after college, I was kind of just out in the workforce doing my thing. I did all kinds of, I was like a personal trainer, a fitness manager at a Bally's for a while. I was selling retirement homes, like a lot of sales jobs. And I was doing really well at them, but I felt like I was like missing something. Like I just wasn't fulfilled. And that's when the idea of wrestling kind of kept creeping into the back of my mind. And so I was like 25, about 3 years out of college at that point, and I was like, I want to give this a try. And I went to a local show in Denver, Colorado, back when I was living in Denver at the time, and they still run. It's called Lucha Libre and Laughs. I'll be there later this month. It's a really good show. But after the show, I was just like, I need to get involved. Where do these people train? And the promoter was nice enough to point me in the right direction. So
that's awesome. I know I had thought about getting in at a couple different times, but one time I almost was putting the money in, but I ended up, stuff happened.
Sure.
And the promoter that actually ran the school and the promotion that I was going to go with, because I thought maybe I could at least be a ref or a manager.
Sure.
He recently passed away, just December 29th.
Oh no.
Yeah, he was pretty big in the area. Earlier in his career, he even ventured out to California and did.
You're talking about Jason Strife?
That is the guy. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, rest in peace, Jason Strife. I was on a few shows with him. I was familiar with him. I wouldn't say like we were friends or we talked that often or anything, but he's a guy that I was on actually quite a few shows with earlier on in my career. I did some shows he came to Denver a few times. And I'm trying to think, I guess some NWL shows in Missouri, a few others with him. So he came to Denver quite a bit. Yeah, he was really good wrestler, really, really talented. And obviously he's been going through he went through a lot of health issues over the last few years. And it's really sad to see anyone lose their life so young. Cause obviously he had a lot of it ahead of him. So rest in peace.
That he did. He was definitely something that I feel like I owe a lot to, because, chance meeting him in California, I ended up finding out about his promotion up here and ended up meeting most of my best friends that I have to this day. So very thankful to him. When introducing you, we had mentioned about Team Filthy and the West Coast Wrecking Crew. How did those come about?
So Jarrell and I have been Jarrell from the West Coast Wrecking Crew, in case someone's listening and not familiar with the work, but Jarrell and I have been teaming now for over 5 years. We were originally put together by a promoter in Vegas, and it just kind of clicked and worked. It was like just kind of a luck of the draw thing, because I think a lot of times just odd pairings don't necessarily work, but we just happened to have really similar outlooks on things, and we lived close by each other, and so we're doing these drives, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, like I like this dude, like this is like a friend, and then it's like, oh, this is like a brother, and then it's like, yeah, this is my guy. So me and Jarrell, best friends, like that's that I think helps a lot with our tag team dynamic, because it's actually like a legitimate, like we're friends and brothers, and sometimes we argue over the text like brothers and whatever too, but like that's my dude to the end. He's been there for me on like some real life shit before, and vice versa. And so we were originally given the name the 1%, which I thought was, it's a easy heel bad guy starter, like we're better than you type of thing. And then it just seemed like for a minute I was with the NWA, and then I kind of had to do my own thing there where they separated us. And then once I was granted my release, I thought, okay, this is our time to rebrand. We can do something different and do something that's our own, that we own, and something that I think would fit us more. And so we were going back and forth, and West Coast Wrecking Crew is what we came up with, because I do think, like we give kind of the vibes of like the old Minnesota Wrecking Crew or Minnesota Stretching Crew or whatnot. Like we kind of have a similar vibe along with a little bit of Steiner Brothers. And so it kind of just seemed like it fit us a lot better. So that's when we transitioned to that name. And then as far as Team Filthy, that was just a thing that we started working for New Japan Strong, and we had a few strong, pun intended, showings there. I think we were doing well. But I think we needed a little bit of something extra, and Filthy Tom saw something in us, and somehow the pairing just ended up working perfectly. Like, Tom is one of my really close homies. I annoy him constantly. We're talking and he's laughing at what an idiot I am, but like, he's the man. He's helped me out a lot in the business and shown me a lot of different things. And I legitimately, like, I really, really owe Tom a lot of really awesome things have happened to me because of him. And I think he just saw something in our attitude and our swagger. And then our last match before we joined Team Filthy was actually against Limelight and Kratos, who were already members of Team Filthy. Things got a little hairy at the end, like it was going to go into a second, fight brawl kind of thing. And then that's when Filthy Tom came out and was like, hey, hold on. These guys are kind of cool. And things have been off to the races since. Like, since joining Team Filthy has been my happiest, most successful part of my career. So I'm very grateful for that.
That's awesome. And you mentioned, having some strong showings there. I remember you posted recently about being a part of the best of 2022 for New Japan Strong. Hey, that's a pretty big honor right there.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. New Japan was always like a huge goal. The second that I started getting into wrestling and getting into Japanese wrestling, I was like, that's a place that's where I want to go. That's my destination. And so getting to work with New Japan through Strong, coming in at a strange time where there was no fans and we're doing this, pre-taped wrestling with no crowds, no reaction. And then getting to go through that to now, like, we're having great crowds every time we have Strong. I got to go over there for the G1 tour, has been really cool. And then the cherry on top for this year was really cool because, I mean, there's only, on the episode, they only do 3 matches. They don't do some special big long extravaganza, 10 matches, this, that, whatever. There were only 3 matches selected. So that was a huge honor. I think, sometimes, not specifically, not with New Japan, sometimes in the wider world of wrestling, I do think that Jarrell and I are a little bit slept on or underappreciated. And so it feels really good when the place that you work and the place that you hold in the highest esteem and respect so much shows that appreciation back to you. So yeah, man, I appreciate you bringing it up. And if you either haven't seen the episode or are not familiar with my work, I would definitely recommend checking out the last episode of New Japan Strong. It's on YouTube for free if you want to check out the full thing. And the entire episode front to back is amazing because it's the best of the year. I think you'll really like it. Hopefully you guys will appreciate the match, or you don't, and tweet something mean to me,
Yeah, it happens either way. But yeah, no, I'm definitely going to be checking the best of episode out. I was actually just, speaking of New Japan, watching Wrestle Kingdom. I didn't get to watch it live because working day shift and staying up for that would have been kind of iffy. But
sure,
man, loving what I've seen. I think I left off before we started recording at the Zack Sabre Jr. match. So looking forward to seeing that because pretty big fan of his. And also, speaking of New Japan, I don't know many people that I can say have stood toe-to-toe with this guy. And I'm talking about Minoru Suzuki. And you had pretty banger of a match with him. And I mean, when I saw that you were getting a match with Minoru Suzuki, I was like, oh, damn. I want to see this.
Yeah, it was an honor to me, especially getting to do it in Colorado where, like, I live on the West Coast. I've lived on the West Coast for over 5 years, and I love it out here. I'm part of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, but I lived in Colorado for almost my entire life, and so that's also where I started wrestling originally. So getting to wrestle someone who's a legend like Minoru Suzuki in front of my hometown fans, and go toe to toe with him, regardless of the outcome, win or lose, it was like, I don't know. Sometimes it's just about going out there, doing your best, and giving your all, and like the futility of man, the pushing your boulder up the hill because that's what you're supposed to do. And he's a master in the ring for a reason. Minoru Suzuki is. He's an absolute artist and a master of violence. And I hope that I get the chance to wrestle him again someday. I think I would have learned from that experience, and I would have even more, even more success conceivably within the match. I don't know if I would beat him, but that's the kind of the thing is I would like to test my mettle. To me, it matters more testing your mettle, shooting for the biggest goal that you can.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was a huge honor, and if I also that one's on YouTube if anyone wants to check that out. But yeah, I would like to run that back sometime. I would definitely like to run that back.
That would definitely be interesting because I mean, you bring up a good point. When it comes to testing your mettle against guys like Minoru Suzuki, like another one of my favorites, Tomohiro Ishii, and getting in there against guys that are known as some of like the hardest hitting guys out there, and knowing that, hey, I might not have won, but I gave every last damn bit of me in there. That's still a bit of a, how do I want to put it? That's still a pretty big air quotes win in my book. If you can go in there against them and just know that, hey, I gave every damn bit of me in there, and hey, it didn't go with me getting the win, but hey, I stood toe to toe with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was one thing talking about Tomohiro Ishii, I just saw him in the New Japan Wrestle Kingdom Rambo, and I'm like, oh man, I always want to see how far he'll get in that. But the thing that I like about him and Minoru Suzuki, and I've mentioned this on the podcast a few times, is I tend to gravitate towards those guys that just ooze that intensity. You just look at them, and I've described Tomohiro Ishii like this, that especially when you see him with like a belt, like the never open weight or whatever it might be, and you see him walk into the ring with it, he just has this look on him like you're going to have to damn near kill him to take that damn thing off of him. And, the one thing that I'll give Minoru Suzuki over that is Minoru Suzuki just seems to have that look on him all the damn time.
Yeah, he sure does. Yeah.
And, like you said, I love getting to watch that match because after we talked about doing this, because I'm like, you're literally one of the first ones that I've been able to talk to that's actually stood toe to toe with them. And it was something that I knew I had to talk about in the episode.
Yeah, of course. And speaking of those two, I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but when they had their last match on AEW, I thought that was one of the best matches of the year. Very simple, just violence, hit hard. ¿Quién es más macho? Who's going to be left standing? I thought that match was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, no, and I just love it. I think it might have been Tomohiro Ishii that, like, I've also told this story once or twice that, here in the States, you see somebody throw a headbutt and like, you can almost, for somebody that's watched as much wrestling as I have, you can almost tell that it's like, oh, you just came close enough to make it look like you hit him. But then one of the first times that I saw him in a Tomohiro Ishii match, it was like I literally heard the bone on bone just smack. And I'm like, how? And it was just crazy.
Yeah, wild violence for sure.
Oh, totally. I have two categories that I kind of do towards the end of the show. And one's a bit of a name game, and I figured I like to tailor it to the guests. So figured with some New Japan involvement, and Wrestle Kingdom just happening, we'll do a little bit of a New Japan type thing here where I go over some names, you give me your thoughts on them.
Okay. Is this like I have to do it in one word, or I like say a sentence or two?
Sentence or two.
Okay, cool.
First one, and I got the names for this from, when doing my research. I saw some pictures of posts of you in matches with these people. So first one, another person who's an absolute favorite of mine, Tama Tonga.
He is so athletic. Like, you look at this guy and you go, oh wow, that's an athlete. And then you are in there with him and you're like, oh no. That's an athlete, all capitals. Some of his speed and his counters, I understand why he was able to win the Never Openweight Championship at Wrestle Kingdom. So congrats to him, even though he's not on Team Filthy's side at the moment. But hey, Guerrillas of Destiny and West Coast Wrecking Crew have to cross paths at some time. So,
oh man, that's gonna be an absolute. To borrow something from good old JR, an absolute slobber knocker. I can already tell because I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling, and Guerrillas of Destiny, one of my current favorites. So, that one, you got me excited to see that one. Next one, a guy that, Tama Tonga and him have a little bit of history. Got kicked out by him. Jay White.
Hey, that is the leader of the Bullet Club. I got to give all respects because Team Filthy and Bullet Club, while I don't know if we would say like allies, but we've worked together in the past and we've always been on good terms. So like that's the I know well, I don't know if I want to give away spoilers, but close your ears if you don't want to hear. He obviously just lost at Wrestle Kingdom, but that's still, I mean, that's the guy. Over the last few years, he's proven he is the guy. And I don't know, it's watching him in ring is always amazing. The things that he does, the craft that he has is top level with anyone across the board anywhere.
Oh, that is without a doubt. Even in losing efforts like Wrestle Kingdom, he still knows how to put on a hell of a damn show. Next one, Homicide.
Homicide? That dude's fucking crazy. I have to give him all the respect for being such a legend that's been around for so long. He tried to fork me and Jarrell and just kill us in New York. Not a fan of that. But, I think one thing that people from my generation and from now the generation that is on the come up now have to do is still give their flowers and do justice to the people that came before us. And I don't know if there would be a Royce Isaacs if there wasn't a Homicide. Even if, I would like to punch him in the face currently if I saw it.
he is one of those that you definitely got to watch out for. I mentioned liking wrestlers that ooze that intensity. When
Yeah.
When that bell rings, he is definitely intensity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Last but not least for this one, guy that I kind of mentioned a little bit, Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay, well, first of all, what a technical wizard. I think we all know how damn good he is at the grappling side of things on the mat. So I don't think we need to like spend all of our time just respecting him. Me and Tommy, we will go to war with him, and especially now that he's TMDK. Sorry, I'm giving all the spoilers away, but you're asking about New Japan people, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hey, we've gone to war with TMDK already. We've gone to war with Zach when he was part of Suzuki-gun. I'm all the way down to go to war with Zach now that he's part of the TMDK. I hope that means that he's going to be stateside so I can say hello to him with my hand to his face. You know, all that technical stuff's nice, but I know how to roll around too, and I'm going to go ahead and say that, you know, I have the striking edge on him. So he's a technical wonder, but fuck you, Zach.
Now, gonna go on to, I used to call it the speed round, but to be honest, it never went that damn quick, so I just changed it to a random question round. I have some questions that I always have on there. One of them, the ones that I lead off with, and the one that I end with. Other than that, I never really know what one I'm going to put down until I'm putting down my notes. So, first one, the one I always like to lead off with because it leads to some entertaining stories. Craziest in-match moment.
Craziest in-match moment. See, I'm bad at like coming up with things on the fly like that, where it's like I'm sure there's something crazier, but this just happens to be what's on the top of my head right now.
Hey.
My first 6 months of wrestling, I was wrestling this guy at this like bar in Golden, Colorado, and we're out there, and I gave him some strike to the midsection or something. He just rolls out and he starts crawling under the ring, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? So I roll out, I grab him by the leg, and I'm pulling and pushing, and I'm pulling and pushing, because I'm like, this guy trying to grab like a weapon? Am I like in the middle of like a fight where this guy's gonna try to like take advantage of me and like hit me with something? What's going on? And finally he looks back, and I see there's like a little bit of puke on his lips, and I go, oh shit, and I just drop his leg and I roll back in the ring, and I'm like, all right, ref, I guess just count him out. But the guy, I guess he'd had an adult beverage or two before the match, which I think is not a great idea before. It's a great idea if you're at leisure. It's a good idea if you're drinking at Moe's. It's a bad idea if you're about to have an athletic competition. Because, he had the one hit to the gut, and he rolled out and go, oh, this is all coming up, went under the ring and yacked his head off.
Yeah, that is a crazy one. I mean, those that watching, you brought up Golden, Colorado.
How topical is that? That's amazing. Yeah, that's
one of my favorites. I had some left over from New Year's, so I was like, you know what, I need a beer right now.
Yeah.
But next one, and this question, I'm sure that we kind of already talked about somebody that would definitely be high up on this list. Hardest hitter. And we won't go with Minoru Suzuki because I can imagine he would be damn near the top of the list, if not the top.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that I'll forget someone and be like, oh yeah, that guy hit the shit out of me. But off the top of my head, I would say Zeus from All Japan hits really hard, and Brody King hits real hard too.
Oh, I can imagine Brody King. I followed him a lot since, Ring of Honor, and now stuff he's doing in AEW with House of Black, and Yeah, he was definitely one that I would definitely think would be on the top of anybody's list for that. Definitely. That is for sure. Next question. Favorite drink, whether alcoholic or not, or you can do one of both.
I'll do one of both. Favorite alcoholic drink, probably like a gin and tonic or a Tom Collins anymore. I'm in a gin phase, obviously. And non-alcoholic, probably the Prime hydration drink with the red, white, and blue one. That's like a Bang Pop or whatever.
Okay, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it around too much, but I do know of that brand at least.
Yeah, it's delicious. Either that or it'd be like an energy drink. Those are the only other like drinks that I really have in the morning. Is like I just got the Rain Tropical Storm. I haven't tried it out yet, but like I like Rain usually for morning. Get my 300 milligrams of caffeine just directly to my heart.
Yep. And for me, this Coors Banquet, definitely that. And I do enjoy one of my other favorites, Kona Big Wave, that or their longboard. Two of my absolute favorites. Non-alcoholic, I'm a bit of a Dr. Pepper fiend. My wife says that I have a problem. I say I have it all figured out. Only problem I have is if I don't have any.
There you go. Yeah. As far as soft drinks, probably like Mountain Dew Baja Blast is where I'm at.
Oh, yep. No, that's a good one. Last but not least for this one, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
I would say find a reputable school that has good trainers that know what they're doing. Get yourself into decent shape. And I don't mean like you have to be a jacked body guy. I just mean like decent cardiovascular shape, decent, like if you should be able to do push-ups and that, squats and any kind of like body weight exercises, at least. Like you don't have to be benching big weight or anything like that, but like being in some kind of physical shape because it is an athletic endeavor. But I would say those are like probably my two biggest pieces of advice. And also just make sure, as well as the physical health, make sure that mentally you're in a state that like you are, and if you have to work on that, if it's something where you need a little bit of help, there's obviously never any shame in any of that. But wrestling is such a tough business mentally, and it still is. Like I'm here, 8, almost 9 years later, and there's still days where it's a big struggle for me, and there's things that I go through that are really tough. And I'm someone that I think I've had a lot of success and am on a good path. It's wrestling business is tough. So make sure reputable school, get your physical right, get your mental right, and you should have success.
Oh yeah, no, but mental health is definitely an important thing. And with, like you mentioned, the wrestling business isn't all sunshines and rainbows all the dang time. So, you got to make sure that you're, able to handle that both physically and mentally. I recently did a special little part of the podcast I call My Two Cents on mental health, because it was shortly after that Twitch that was the DJ on the Ellen show, right after he had committed suicide. And I mean, it was only literally a few months, maybe a couple months from when Jason David Frank had committed suicide. And that one was a bit strange for me because a friend of mine had invited me to this meet and greet that Jason David Frank was actually doing here in Omaha, literally, I think it was back in September. And I literally have the signed Funko Pop of his that I have down in my basement right now. And when I saw that, I'm like, holy crap, I just met the guy. So, leading to, mental health being very important, because sometimes, some people are a little bit better of masking it than others. So it's always good to make sure, you're right, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Absolutely.
And, you also brought up, even if you're having an issue or struggling with one thing or a few here or there, nothing wrong with, being like, hey, I got this going on. I'm just needing to vent or get it off my chest or just talk to somebody about it. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Never. No, it's always better to have more help and make sure with something like that, because mental health is something that we all have to make sure that we have in line and that we work on for the rest of our lives, because it's always going to be, it's a thing for everyone that everyone has to take care of. And yeah.
No, definitely. Well, that is about all I have. I want to, one, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight. And two, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't have their eyes on you already, they can get them there.
Yeah, Royce Isaacs at Royce Isaacs on Twitter, at Royce Isaacs on Instagram. Actually, I think my at is still that. I don't know, but if you search Royce Isaacs, I'll definitely come up. If you were intrigued, I would say check out some of my recent matches that are on YouTube, either West Coast Wrecking Crew or a Royce Isaacs versus Minoru Suzuki, or one of my other singles matches. And if you like New Japan and you haven't checked out Strong yet, definitely check out New Japan Strong, because I think we have an insanely loaded roster, people that are really working hard and putting together some A1 matches, just some crazy physical fights. And I can't say enough good things about Strong. So check us out.
Definitely will. I know I watch as much as I can of it because, like you said, we've got a damn good roster of talent there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, once again, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight, and best of luck with the West Coast Wrecking Crew and Team Filthy.
Hey, thanks so much, Big Mo. It was thanks for having me on, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Definitely. You're welcome back anytime.